how to create great professional quality black and white inkjet prints in 3 easy steps. Step 1. Use a photo quality pigment inkjet printer with good quality inks and papers. Use a recent custom printer profile that you've checked and it's been made specifically for your printer, your ink and your particular printing paper. Third step, print from great origination and don't ruin it with over adjustment in Photoshop or Lightroom or Aperture, and don't allow your monitor to persuade you to over adjust or to over sharpen. Now let's explain those steps a little bit more fully. Step 1, don't use a cheap home printer or an office printer. They're mainly die-based printers, so I wouldn't use one of the older die-based printers to do my black and white work. Use only a modern pigment printer which create good neutrals in various lighting conditions. The older dye-based inks tend to produce variable colour tones within their neutrals and are no match for pigment prints. So put the two side by side, we'll illuminate them under a good light, and you can see the dye-based monochrome has got it's got tinges of magenta in there and other tinges, whereas the pure pigment print is beautifully neutral, and we can do things with this particular starting point. So that's the first thing that we have to start with. We must be using the correct pigment printer. Now, don't use compatible inks or cheap high street refill inks. Use either OEM brand inks or a good professional ink such as these. If you insist on pro photo papers with a clean, pure white point, you will get a good characteristic. You get a good rich black and you get a nice crisp white with a good professional photographic inkjet paper, and they also allow your inks to graduate smoothly throughout the entire density range. Compatibles and cheap high street refill inks tend to produce abrupt, high contrast prints, so we want to stay clear of the lower cost high street refill inks. Now let's go into step 2. Get your printer accurately custom profiled for your specific printer, ink and paper combination, and check what you actually achieve. Now, custom printing profiling nowadays is very simple. You simply print out a test target exactly as your supplier instructs, and you send this back to the supplier. They'll run it through their equipment and they'll give you a custom profile. You then test your custom profile with your supplier's master image. This is our master image here, and we can check whether we're actually producing not only fabulously accurate colour but also accurate neutrals. We can also check we've got a good rich black, and we can check that our black lifts off early. We have a good rich black here, lifts off early, and it goes smoothly up to the colour, the white of the paper, without veering off into various colour tones. So if we've got a nice pure linear graduation, then we're okay. Now we need to print, we need to capture in RGB and exactly as if you're printing in colour. We rely on the accuracy of our custom profile to guarantee a perfect neutral throughout the density range and throughout all the tones in your image. Printing in RGB allows you to change your neutral very slightly. Now let's show you some slight adjustments to neutral. We've got very subtle changes to colour tones here. Let's see if you can pick that up. You can see that we very subtly changed the we've very subtly changed the colour tone. Now, you can do this very easily with very tiny changes in hue saturation in your image editing software. You also have the ability to sepia tone, to colour tone, to split tone, tritone or quad tone as you wish. Now let's go into step 3, our final part. Work with plenty of pixels and dynamic range. This means an origination image which exceeds, let's say, 5 megabytes if we're printing to A5 or half US letter size, or 10 megabytes when we're printing to A4 or full US letter size. So an A4 or a full US letter size, we like to have around 10 megabytes of pure information. And make sure that your levels show a good spread of density tones appropriate to your image. Print straight from a digital camera, I would say a TIFF or a high quality JPEG whenever you can, rather than a scan of a neg or transparency, unless you're working with a drum scanner or similar. Now, don't get hung up on the complications of processing through RAW. If you don't understand the principles, keep it simple, leave that alone for the time being. Don't allow your monitor to persuade you to over-adjust in Photoshop or Lightroom or Aperture or whatever image editing software that you've got. Try printing a first off test print at full size without any Photoshop adjustments. Then apply tiny changes to, as you wish, based on your last test print, not what you see on the monitor. When you get used to this method, you'll be able to use smaller and fewer test prints. Once you really feel in control of your black and white printing, you can start to enjoy yourself. Now, if you've enjoyed this presentation, we go into this aspect in far greater detail in our full inkjet printing masterclass black and white edition, which will be published very shortly. Pass this on to your colleagues and photo friends. Thank you very much for watching.